It's time for Donkey of the Day.
Donkeys of the Day, ask Charlemagne.
I'm a Democrat, so being Donkey of the Day is a little bit of a mixed blessing.
So like a donkey. Hee-haw. Okay. Donkey of the Day.
The Breakfast Club, bitches.
Now, I've been called a lot in my 23 years, but Donkey of the Day is a new one.
Yes, Donkey of the Day for Tuesday, July 18th goes to former NFL quarterback Michael Vick. Now, Michael Vick was on Fox Sports 1, Speak for Yourself, yesterday, and the conversation turned to Colin Kaepernick, and Michael Vick was asked his thoughts on Cap. And the question was, does Colin Kaepernick need to speak out on his desire to play in the NFL? And Michael Vick said this.
First thing we got to get Colin to do is cut his hair. I don't think he should represent himself, in that way in terms of, just the hairstyle. Just go clean cut. Just try to be presentable. I mean, look, so all the social media stuff that he's doing, look, we get it. We understand it. It's time for, Colin to step up in a different way. And the reason he's not playing it has nothing to do with the national anthem. I think it's more solely on this play. But yeah, I mean, everything takes precedent, image, perception. It's not about selling out. When you're good and you're playing great, then you're going to be wanted. And I don't want to see him to continue to go through this. That's why I say he may need a life coach, somebody to be there on call to help him, not have to go through these situations that's going to be detrimental to his career.
Yes, kids, that noise you heard in the background was someone stirring the teacup from Get Out, okay? Our brother Michael Vick is in the sunken place. I think we can get him out, though. Hopefully he's listening. Now, kids, gather around while your Uncle Charlotte tells you a story. Now, when I was a young savage, the first charge I ever got was assault and battery with intent to kill. I told the story in my book, the New York Times bestseller, Black Privilege, Opportunity Comes to Those Who Create It. I was in the backseat of a car with my homie, and he shot at someone. We went to jail. Now, my pops bailed me out, but I doubled down on the savagery when I got out and started selling dope. Eventually got arrested for selling to an undercover. You have heard all these stories before. If you've been listening to me for a while, if you're new to Charlemagne, go buy my book. Now, I'm telling you all of this because I want to paint a picture of the criminal I used to be. I had a afro, cornrows, didn't know if I wanted to be Snoop, Method Man, Red Man, would have my hair braided all crazy like ODB. I was a savage, period. And my lawyer at the time told me verbatim, you have to cut your hair. You have to go get a job. When you come to court, you have to wear a suit, okay, or a button up. Don't come in here in no T-shirt and jeans and all white Air Force Ones. You have to look presentable in front of the judge. So Michael Vick's advice is actually great for actual criminals who are going to be facing the judge for their various charges in the future. But here's the thing. Contrary to popular belief, Colin Kaepernick is not a criminal. He's committed no crime. I know he's being villainized. I know he's being demonized, but Colin Kaepernick has not committed a crime. Michael Vick is giving Colin advice that a lawyer would give a criminal facing a court date. And Michael Vick is giving advice that he was given because Michael Vick committed an actual crime. Okay? Remember the whole dog fighting ring thing? Michael Vick went to jail for 21 months. Michael Vick is a convicted felon. Of course he would have to change his image. You and Colin Kaepernick are not the same, Michael Vick, at all. Once again, the question I always ask, why is Colin Kaepernick being punished for doing the right thing? Okay? Michael Vick talking about Cap needs to look presentable and talks about his perception. Michael, Colin Kaepernick image is better than yours. Colin Kaepernick never been accused of giving a woman herpes like you, Ron Mexico. Google the name Ron Mexico, kids.
Ron Mexico.
Read up on people's history because I think people just be forgetting, okay? And he's not known in a lot of circles, Colin Kaepernick I'm speaking of. He's not known in a lot of circles as a dog killer. Like you, Michael Vick. That's what you just are to a lot of people. Colin Kaepernick got an airplane to deliver food and water to Somalia. Colin Kaepernick has donated $700,000 to 24 different organizations. He's donated to American Friends Service Committee, Grassroots Leadership, Helping Oppressed Mothers Endure. Colin gave $50,000 to Meals on Wheels. Okay? Colin's Know Your Rights camp is popping. Then it's a free campaign for youth, fully funded by Colin Kaepernick, to raise awareness on higher education, self-empowerment, and instruction to properly interact with law enforcement in various scenarios. The moral of the story is Colin Kaepernick's image is actually stellar. The man is out here doing God's work, being a public servant. You telling him to clean up his image, but what's dirty about it? Michael Vick telling him he needs to cut his hair, change his image like he's facing charges, like he committed a crime. And I can't stand people getting on these platforms. Let me rephrase. I can't stand black people getting on these platforms and not speaking truth to power. Michael, you really said that Colin isn't in the league because of his performance the past 2 seasons? Play that clip of Michael Vick talking that nonsense.
Colin didn't have the best 2 years, his last 2 seasons. I mean, it wasn't as productive as what we've seen him do.
I'm not the highest grade of weed in the dispensary. He's right that it's not as productive as we've seen him do. But Michael, past 2 years, 21 games played, Colin Kaepernick has a 59% completion percentage, 22 TDs, 9 interceptions, 84 quarterback rating. That's better than Mark Sanchez, Geno Smith, and Blaine Gabbert, just to name a few. But even though he has better numbers than those guys, those 3 guys all have been signed in this offseason. But Colin Kaepernick hasn't. You know why? Because he kneeled for the national anthem and made a stand against the injustices that people of color face at the hands of the police. Period. That's it. Nothing more to see here, folks. Okay? Michael Vick, that space you're in right now is called the sunken place. And it's where a lot of black people go to die mentally. Okay? Maybe you're trying to get a job with Fox Sports 1, so you decided to go up there and shuck and jive on behalf of your master to make it happen. But you need to be ashamed of yourself for speaking down on a brother who, by all intents and purposes, has done everything right. Please give Michael Vick the biggest y'all. And to Colin Kaepernick, sometimes it is better the so-called lose and do the right thing than the so-called win and do the wrong thing.